Hey guys, Jesse here, and today I'm taking a look at the Master Grade Gundam F91. I know I've been gone for a long while. I just kind of needed my annual 1 year vacation. But if you're really interested in knowing what happened over the past year with me, I might make a video on it. I might just make a community post or something, but I won't be covering any of that stuff in this video. This is purely a review on the kit and to let you guys know that I'm back. I'm back to building. I'm back to doing the whole YouTube thing. So expect more videos in the future. But anyways, let's talk about this kit. This is the version 1.0 or the old one, quote unquote. I don't really know what to call it. Not the 2.0, essentially. I'm aware that the 2.0 is out. I wasn't that out of the Gunpla news and realm. But was actually a commission build that I started sometime last year and just got around to finishing. I know that's a very long time, and I apologize once again to the client of this thing, but the commission itself, the order kind of came to me at a very weird time, and a lot of things happened. So if you ever get a commission bill from me, I promise it won't take a fucking year. So just know I work kind of slow, but I don't work that slow. But anyways, what he wanted basically was the F91 as it was at the end of the movie. After the Lafrazia destroyed it, after the Lafrazia was destroyed, and it was left in this sort of state. So let's get this spinning, and I'll just talk about what I did essentially. This review is going to be kind of unorthodox because I'm kind of missing half of the suit, so it's going to be kind of hard to review in the traditional sense. But it's basically just kind of going to be a sort of show and tell about what I did, and we'll compare it to my actual personal F91 that I did a long time ago. It looks like shit, but it's mine, so I love it. So just to talk a little bit about the F91 itself, I love this. This is actually my favorite mobile suit, in case anyone's wondering. This is my favorite Gundam for sure. I just love how sleek it looks. I like how fast it looks. It looks like a race car, like essentially. It looks like a Formula One car or something. I love how there's these huge like vents on the back. This sort of like I don't know what to call it, like roly-poly shell design is super cool to me. I just love the shape of the legs. I like that it's small. This is next to the Victory Gundam. This might be the smallest master grade, but it's small. It's your typical high grade will come very close to the size of this kit. But that doesn't mean they skimped on the details. This thing is just packed. And as for a comparison to this and the 2.0, I've seen the 2.0. I've actually seen it in person as well. It definitely beats this thing out in terms of movement and articulation and some details and anime accuracy. That one is far more accurate to the anime than this one. However, I prefer the looks of this one. It just looks meaner and sleeker, and to me it just looks cooler. I don't know. It looks like how I would like the F91 to look in real life. That's a thing, if you know what I mean. The only thing I would probably take on the 2.0 over this one is the head sculpt. The head sculpt on this one is a little derpy. It's not bad, but the 2.0 definitely has it beat in terms of the head sculpt. So in terms of what I did, I kind of just did my regular battle damage and weathering technique. Again, I've been trying to be more subtle about my weathering. This was like a super damaged mobile suit, but I wanted it. I guess I have some class. I could have really went all out and just went crazy like I used to, but I'm really pleased with the way it looked because realistically they don't get that screwed up in the anime and in the shows and even in real life, unless it was just completely trashed. But basically, I used some nippers and I cut away the arm. Didn't build the hand or anything. I just kind of cut that. I used a soldering iron to create this sort of burnt effect on the arm and leg. I had to super glue this sort of joint together because the leg, the sort of calf part holds this joint together. So clipped the wings, so to speak, I guess. Just thought it looked cool. It wasn't like that in the movie, but I just thought it would look cool. And I negated or left out the VSBRs, which are these huge sort of cannons on the back. They're destroyed in the movie. I left the ball pigs there just in case the guy wanted to put them on. I didn't paint or top coat them or anything, just because he wanted it like this, and it doesn't have them, at the end. So, but I left the option there. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it was just sort of my typical dry brushing with some silver and sponging with some black and silver, then adding some streaks with Tamiya Weathering Masters. That's about it. Just made sure to put a lot of streaks where vents were, and where like sort of openings were, like as you can see on the side of the arm here, or around the leg where like this vent is. And I think it looks pretty sleek. We didn't agree on the base being painted. That would have costed more, and it would have taken me a lot more time. I'll talk more about the base later, but it's a really cool piece. Definitely something the 1.0 has over the 2.0, is the fact that it comes with this like top half or top part of the Lafrazia. Yeah, let's go ahead and stop it spinning and sort of get a closer look. All right, so I've got it here. It's going to be a little bit wiggly because I got to hold it from the stand. Of course, it can't stand on its own because I've got it in this pose and everything. But again, I'm very pleased with the way it came out. As you can see when I was talking about the face, it's a little wide. I don't know. Something about it looks kind of weird. Also, you know what? I can't really recall if this kit comes with the alternate kind of crossbones fang looking face. I want to say it doesn't. I know 2.0 does, but yeah, my problem with the 2.0 is like everything's really bubbly on it. Like the skirts on the 2.0 are very bubbly. The arms are almost devoid of detail. They're also really like round and bubbly. This is more, I don't know, again, more sleek. Yeah, I know I keep using that word, but that's like the only way I can really describe this thing is sleek. It comes with dry transfers and stickers. The dry transfers are very cool. A lot of these big ones up top, like this one here, this SN. Sorry, this spinny thing is in the way. The SNRI is a dry transfer. That one's obviously a sticker. This is one of my favorite dry transfers ever made. This is just, the blue on it just pops. It's amazing. Of course, you've got to get the big F91 on there. Otherwise, just ain't gonna look right. They give you two different styles. They give kind of this solid color one, and then they give one that's just like red outline. So you kind of take your pick. I don't know where the red outline one comes from. I can't remember if it's from the anime or not. And just a side note, the F91 movie is not my favorite Gundam movie by a long stretch, or Gundam show or whatever. I just really like the suit, so you'll have to forgive me if I forget some details. Can't really get a good lighting in there, but I did paint the pilot, which again I forget his name. I just like the suit, okay. But yeah, again, really pleased with the way it came out. Putting the decals on was pretty easy. These little tiny like circle things, I love that sort of detail, the server COD detail. But those are dry transfers, so yeah, just take your time, have fun. They're not too bad. So yeah, not much to say. Again, just use the Dremel on some of these scars and stuff here. Did a silver sort of kind of laid it in with some silver, then did sort of a black wash in there. That's how I kind of get that look. It looks all right. I don't know. I could probably do better. The cockpit just opens with this part sliding in and out. And yeah, actually, there's one more thing I want to talk about. The light's not going to catch it, but in real life you can see it. There's sort of a you can kind of see the inner frame through these grills. In the 2.0, I believe there's some sort of gold piece under there. Well, there's also a piece under here, but it's just black. So I went ahead and painted it gold. You can see it in the light. Here you can't really see it, but trust me, it's there. So Yeah, what else can I talk about this thing? Let's talk about the sort of build and construction of it. So one of the biggest kind of selling points of the F91, or at least this kit at the time, was the fact that the entire inner frame is ABS plastic. There are no polycaps on this kit. Um, Zero, nilch, nada. And it's sort of a double-edged sword. I mean, this was at a time when Bandai was sort of just figuring out that uh, poly or softer polycapped and softer inner frames cause the model kits to sag over time. So their sort of solution was to try to create this suit that was purely out of this really hard plastic. And trust me, it's tough. I mean, the reason why I left off the VSBRs and didn't even try to put them on is because on my original kit, when I did that, that joint snapped like immediately, because it's just there's so much resistance and you got to push so hard to push a lot of these pieces together that every single snap feels like you just broke the kit. Not again, not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something to be aware of. And on a positive note, like your kit, once you have this kit in a pose, it ain't ever coming out of that pose. It's never gonna sag on the shelf or anything like that. It's stuck. And then on the flip side, if you're building it, and especially if you're painting it, you're more likely to break things on it, which is why I think Bandai never went back to this strategy of, I guess, plastic molding. I don't know what to call it. Otherwise, the build is pretty straightforward. It's a very detailed kit. That entire inner frame is fully detailed. It has really nice panel lines. Not too many, not too little. I think it's a good mix. It looks like a master grade should. And in terms of the gimmicks, there's not too many. The VSBRs do swing down along this rail and come up and under the arms like you see in the movie. It's very cool. Again, very, very stiff and very hard to move along that rail. In this, let's just stop it here and see if I can open it up. In this side skirt, you've got another beam energy shield. And then in this side skirt, you can store both the beam sabers. It opens up and it spins down. Since I've got it painted, it's kind of stiff, and plus he didn't want them in there anyways. So I've got them separated out. I know that mechanism works a bit better in the 2.0. It should. It's a 2.0. But yeah, that's about it for the gimmicks. There's these little wings. If you take off this top cap to the shoulder, there's a rail that you can retract and extend the wings out, so you don't have to have the wings out all the time. I think it's a pretty cool look, so I always keep them out. And this beam shield can kind of come out on a rail. It's kind of stiff, again, because of the plastic, but it can kind of extend out, so you can put the beam energy shield on there. In terms of articulation, it's really, really good. Again, I have it in this pose. I'm not really going to move it. It's how we wanted it. But yeah, it's excellent. No real complaints. The head is a bit hindered by that huge collar piece in the roly-poly backpack, but it's master grade quality articulation as we know it. I know the 2.0 has a few cool like gimmicks that allow it to move better, but this one doesn't because it's older, but still good. This is also a very cheap kit. I think it's like 30 bucks now, 35 or 30 bucks. With the 2.0, I think it's even cheaper now. So probably the cheapest master grade you're going to get, and for that price, probably one of the best kits you're going to get, if I'm to be honest. This is still one of my favorite kits, not just because it's my favorite suit, but because of the look, the build, and its accessories, which we'll talk about right now. And we're going to start off with the big kahuna, whatever, itself. Yeah, so its action base is the freaking top of the Lafrazia. How cool is that? You even get a little iron mask in there. I guess I remember something from the movie. Of course, you've got to paint all the details on this. I'll go get my own personal one and show you here after I review everything here. But this inner part should be like purple. There's no details on the controls. All these thrusters should be gray with purple. Yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be painted on this, but is that not the coolest action base you've ever seen? I mean, I think the only thing that could really top this is maybe those like nice printed Sazabi and like unicorn ones, but oh, man, this is just such a cool addition. The action base itself is kind of shit though. There's not a lot of movement. It's just got a bunch of predetermined notches in there, and it can go side to side and back and forth, but the angles they give you are just like super extreme. There's no real nice middle angle just for a nice like flying pose. This is the best I can get for this sort of display, and I think this is leaned forward a little bit too much, as you can see. So next, I'll show you the VSBRs here real quick. They also have a really nice dry transfer there. It's pretty big, but again, very clear, very nice blue on that VSBR. These do extend, and then you can pull the handle out, so when you tuck it up under his arm, he can actually hold it. And again, his articulation is just fine, so he can do all that. Again, really nice detail. They plug in via this ball, this little hole for the ball joint. This is ABS plastic, so yeah. Hard on hard. It don't work, Bandai. Next up, let's take a look at his beam rifle. I really like the beam rifle, the F91. It's just very simple. I like the fact that it's white with some gray. It just breaks it up nicely. Painted the camera in there. It's pretty easy. Yeah, nothing too crazy to say about this. The hand is the 3 fingers in the thumb system with a peg to hold on to the gun, and it holds on to it just fine. So not much to say about that. Then you get the beam bazooka, which again is really nice, very nicely detailed. At the end of the movie, these 2 weapons are just completely trashed and destroyed. The guy asked me just to at least weather them, so I went ahead and did that for him. The cool thing about this is that this kind of pipe part can actually store into the back skirt of the F91. So I like when Gundams can store their weapons on them, as you guys might know. So the fact that you can do it with this one is cool. The only real problem with this weapon I can see is that it is kind of tricky to get him to hold it up and over his shoulder, just because while his articulation is great, it's not like modern standards great. So you got to do some fiddling, and my personal one has the beam bazooka being held, so I'll show you that. But it can be it's a little tricky. So I also painted that in. You don't get stickers for that or this, if I recall. I know for sure not this one. I can't remember for this one, but it's really easy to paint. I would just paint that in with a Gundam marker or something. You get the 2 beam sabers, which are in a really nice translucent green. I'm not sure why one is bent. It came like that because I built these like right away for some reason, but it's kind of cool. It's a swooshing beam saber now. So again, you can store both the handles in the side skirt. Otherwise, they're standard beam sabers. They've got a notch for the hand. Widdly diddly. Next up, you've got the beam shield. I really prefer this way of doing a beam shield out of this like weird soft plastic, and you just kind of fold it over the piece that holds it. Nowadays, Bandai is kind of making it out of the regular hard plastic that you cut out of the trees, and they just don't look as cool or as dynamic and as different as these used to. I could be wrong about that. I haven't built a Gundam with a beam shield in very long, or even have had interest really. In a lot of the Gundams I'm not interested in just happen to have beam shields. So, but in any case, this is just super cool because it's green. You don't really see a lot of green beam shields. Next up for the Lafrazia, you do get these tentacle rape tendrils. Yeah, so you get 2 green wires here that you have to cut, and you can cut them to whatever length, and you get these little pointy things. These should be the same green as this, but yeah, I don't know. To me, that looks weird to have them the same color as the vine, I guess, that's coming out. It's supposed to be a flower. If you've never seen the F91 movie, it's like a giant flower. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But basically, what you would do is there's these little notches, and then underneath there's these little holes. So you would plug in the wire one way and then just kind of feed it through the hole, and you can kind of bend it and mend it to be attacking the F91 or doing whatever. And here's my original F91. I can't tell you when I built this one. It was just so long ago. Um, yeah, this was like very early on when I was obsessed with yellow having to be gold and blue and red having to be metallic blue and red. So I don't know. I was smoking some fat ones when like I painted this one, but as you can see, that blue just looks like balls. It's so chunky, and the red actually came out like halfway decent. But yeah, I just kind of smudged it. Really, I didn't really I didn't really weather it. I just kind of blew my nose on it. Now that I see that the bazooka has a painted lens, I'm going to assume there wasn't a sticker, because at this point I was still using stickers and all that jazz. But again, yeah, this was my original. I don't know. I still like it, but I can do so much better now. So here's what it looks with the VSBRs on its back, actually. Yeah, it was, as you can see, I had to super glue this left one on because it broke, and then I didn't even dare move the right one as soon as I got it on. So the top of the jets or whatever looks cool up there, but why the hell would they be dripping down? I'm like, what, Jesse? What were you thinking? Physics or so. This is what I'm talking about with how the tentacles can come out and, I guess, quote unquote, attack the F91. And this is I will say, I did paint the base pretty damn good. The dome should be that clear green. Iron Mask in there is completely painted accurately, and then the thrusters or whatever should be this purple. It's very Dragon Ball Z. It really reminds me of like a Namek drop pod or something, but I can't remember which one preceded which, but one of them drew inspiration from the other at some point. But yeah, so that's kind of how it looks. Again, holding the bazooka over the shoulder, it takes some finessing, but it's not hard. You can definitely do it. Just take some patience. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the conclusion. And that is it, really. Not much else to say except if you're looking at the F91 and the 2.0 looks a little too bubbly for you, this one is an amazing kit. It's one of my favorite master grades. I believe I featured it in my like top 15 best value Gundams or whatever. I can't really remember, but again, 30 or 35 bucks for a master grade that comes with like all this stuff, including the best action base ever made in terms of looks, not functionality. But yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer to get this, unless you're really hankering for that 2.0. So that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.